Okay, I think I am live now. Hello, everyone. Just gonna make sure that I'm live. Um, can everyone hear me? I can't see that I'm live, so.
I can hear. I think we're good.
Okay, we're good. Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining our information session. So yeah, so I'm just gonna have some notes before we start. So this session will be recorded. So if you need to like leave in the middle of it or anything, or if you miss something, you can always rewind or come back to this meeting. Um, and we'll send the email of this recording after the information session. It's the same link as you're on right now. And then the other thing is, if you have any questions, feel free to use the live chat on YouTube, and either Alex or Daniel or I will be answering on the chat, or we'll answer live. But you can also save your questions for the end because we'll have a lot of time to answer questions at the end. Um, and then the other thing is, if you are it would be great if you guys could check in on the event. So I'm gonna send you guys the link in our chat. So this link over here, if you guys could go to it and click check in, just to show that you attended the event, and this would help us know who's attended, and we'll also use that to send post-event information, like a post-event survey. And yeah, so if y'all could just take a minute to go on that link and just click check in, that should be great. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce ourselves. So I'm Ariba, and I'm the DSC lead for McMaster, and I'm in third year software engineering. Um, yep, and then I'm gonna have Alex and Daniel introduce themselves now.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead. So my name's Alex Robinson. I am the Developer Student Club lead at the University of Central Florida. I was previously the lead at Florida Atlantic University before I transferred to University of Central Florida, which is in Orlando, my home. A little bit about me: computer science student with a focus in cybersecurity. And yeah, I'm just here to support, answer any questions, and just be here because I love DSC.
Awesome. So I will jump in here. Howdy, y'all. My name is Daniel Fiorello. Feel free to call me Danny. Hopefully, by the end of this developer student club journey, we are on together. We can all be friends. So I'm actually located in Austin, Texas. It's kind of my home city. Went to Texas Tech University. I've been working with Google now for 5 years. I've worked with Google Fiber and the Developer Student Club program here in Austin. I've gotten a fantastic opportunity to network and help y'all build out your skills. So I'm looking forward to joining future events with y'all and seeing all the fantastic progress that you make.
Great, thank you so much for introducing yourself, and I really appreciate you guys coming into the information session to help us out. Okay, so in this session, so it might not take the full 1.5 hour because we want to leave plenty of time for you guys to ask your questions and chat with us. But just as an overview, first we'll talk about the developer student clubs and what it is and how it relates to Google. And then Alex will talk about his experience as a DSC lead. He's been lead for 2 years now, so yeah. And then we'll talk about the Google Solution Challenge contest. And then I'll talk about the club at McMaster and the team structure, and then we'll talk about how you can get involved. And lastly, we'll leave plenty of time to get to ask any questions that you may have. Okay, so I'll leave it to Daniel to talk a little bit about the DSC and an overview of how it relates to Google.
Definitely. So, again, howdy, y'all. Part of being in the Developer Student Club is not just being a single entity on its own, right? Google Developer actually supports multiple communities, and y'all are part of them. So, what I'm going to do here is kind of explain some of our different communities, and then talk about our focus. So, the DSC Club is specifically for higher education students um, actively looking to build out their skills. We also have Google Developer Groups, which are similar to DSCs, but more for working professionals. We also have Google Developer Experts, which are certified Google specialists who do not necessarily work for Google, but are advocates for its technology, right? So they may be masters in Firebase, TensorFlow, you name it, we have an expert on it. We also have women tech makers. This is a specific community where we try to elevate the women in tech to new heights, as we have seen that traditionally, you know, things weren't always the way they should be. So we're giving back, and we're trying to focus in on a community to uplift those who may have been negatively impacted. One of the things I want to focus on here is y'all are, like I mentioned, part of a greater Google developer community. What that means is just because you're starting with us here at the Developer Student Club and you graduate doesn't necessarily mean your path to learning with Google has to end. We want y'all to come, make use of these resources, and stay with us for years to come. Whether you're a student, whether you're a working professional, or whether you think you have the knowledge to teach others about these skills, like I mentioned, the experts, please, we would love to see you connect with this journey and stick with us for years to come. On what the DSC is, though, DSC is a global program designed to help bridge the gap between theory and practical application, which exists in your specific school. So what that means is y'all have to tell us what you need to learn to have us in turn host specific events to teach you these skills. So that's a little bit about the DSC program as well as our overall communities.
Great, thank you, Daniel. And just this map over here just shows how many chapters there are over the world because DSC is a global program and there are chapters in a lot of countries. So it's really exciting that we're having one at McMaster this year.
Yeah, and if I could just quickly circle back, it is hard to see on this map just how many communities there are. As of today, there is 1,288 Developer Student Club chapters across the world. So join us and help us continue to change the world in this this new club, Developer Student Clubs for McMasters.
Yep. Okay. So now we're just going to talk a little bit more specifically about what we're going to do this year. And Alex here is just going to talk about the kind of activities he's done in the past and what he's seen other chapters do.
Perfect. Yeah. So developer student clubs, we do a lot of stuff. And really it comes down to what you guys want to learn. Every club is different. Every club is a little bit more unique and fit for its own university, which I like because every university is a different size, every university has different demographics, and every university has different interests, especially if there's certain demand for certain skills in different parts of the country, or maybe there are certain projects that you guys want to work on that are near your university. So I'm just going to go ahead and touch on a couple of the points that are on the slide. Technical workshops is probably a big one that my DSC has been focusing a lot more on. So we just ran a Flutter workshop. There's a lot of Python and machine learning workshops that are going on from a couple different DSCs. It's a very popular event that we've been running in this virtual environment, and it seems to be very successful. We always try to see if we can bring in professionals from local businesses, from Google, or from different organizations to come talk, specifically while we're running an event, if they're like an expert on one of those technologies. And then also some more relaxed type of events, like Code Nights that's on here, but there's a couple different names for this. Like we could just get on, hop on a Google Meet, or stream on Twitch and just do like some coding together, work on a little project like some type of mini game or something like that, just to kind of add a little fun element to learning some of these different coding languages and developer platforms. Obviously, a really popular one is going to be hackathons and cloud study jams. I'm just going to quickly touch on those. A cloud study jam is a event that's structured around the Google Quick Labs platform. And I'm sure Daniel will talk a little bit about Quick Labs in a bit, but just a brief summary of what it is. It's an online platform that is lab-based, hands-on, and self-paced, where you can learn different Google Cloud and Google developer technologies, as well as other developer technologies that are not necessarily created by Google. But the last one is going to be the hackathons, which I think kind of goes without saying. Hackathons got to be one of the most popular types of events for computer science majors all over the country. So I don't really think I need to explain that one very much. And then the last one is going to be projects. So that kind of goes into talking about the solution challenge. So I'm not going to talk too much about that right now. But we will touch on some of the projects and competitions that we can work towards using the same things that we learn in DSC.
Okay, so either Alex or Daniel want to talk more about the cloud study jams. I know Alex mentioned it a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I can jump in. So the cloud study jams. One of the things that is important to notate here is what we do is we leverage a training system called Quick Labs. Quick Labs is going to be how we actually give y'all access to learning these new Google technologies. I would highly recommend y'all go to quicklabs.com and check out the available catalog that is displayed there so we can understand better what specific courses and labs you're looking to take so we can plan future events. But one of the things I'm sure all of y'all are curious about is, man, how do I get access to this? This sounds like a really cool resource that I shouldn't have to pay for. Well, the best thing about this is all you have to do is share what you want to learn. We'll create the event from the back end and create a campaign. What that will do is allow you access to Quick Labs on the day of event to actually enter the platform and begin learning. What will happen from there is you won't see like how it traditionally happens with a bucket of credits coming in and being placed in your account, like you see with GCP. What actually happens is in the back end with Quick Labs, each lab you complete in this specific quest, it will automatically unlock the next lab for you, which doesn't even require you to have to put in a credit card to your Quick Labs account. Pretty awesome, right? We definitely don't want to see y'all getting charged to your credit cards at all, whether it's $1, $2, that's not the point. So this is how we've built this system to make it easy for y'all to not even have to worry about that payment coming up. There's no attach a credit card to get free access. It is that of you join the event, you connect with the content, we give you access. But wait, there's more. Sorry, obligatory, announcer voice there. Finally, when you complete the lab with us, all 4 labs in the Cloud Study Jam, we actually unlock Quick Labs for you for an additional 30 days. So now that you have the momentum to learn, you can just get after it, right? You can learn as many different topics as you would like in your own self-paced opportunity. You can also continue to request future Cloud Study Jams if you enjoyed them so much, and we'll keep putting them on as often as y'all want, right? So again, very important, take a moment, go to quicklabs.com, check out the available catalog, and make sure you're only looking at the GCP specific platform. We're not going to give y'all AWS. Don't ask.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks a lot, Daniel. That sounds very exciting. So I'm just going to talk about the event platform now. So if you go on this website, dsccommunity.dev/events, which I will send you, oops, my bad. I'll send you the link over here. Actually, yeah. So in this website, this has all the events that DSC chapters are hosting around the world. And since this year everything's online because of COVID, that means that all of the events that any DSC chapter around the world are hosting will be online, which is kind of great this year because you can join any of these events. So you don't have to be a chapter member of another chapter in another country to join those events. You can join any events that you see on this DSC event platform. And once you go on the website, you'll see there are a lot of events. Right now, these events are mainly information sessions because it's the start of the school year, but there are a lot of different types of events, and you can filter by event topics, like different types of technology that you're interested in. And yeah, and then you can register for any of them. And so there'll be events like every week. Yeah, every week there are a lot of different events, which is really exciting. So yeah, I just wanted to introduce the event platform. Um, And now we'll talk about the Google Solution Challenge. So, apart from running workshops and events, part of being a DSC means that you can participate in the annual Google Solution Challenge contest. So, just to introduce this, we'll watch this short 29-second video that introduces this challenge. Okay, great. So that was like kind of an exciting intro about the solution challenge. Um, but we'll have Daniel talk more about what it is, and yeah.
Yeah, so howdy y'all. I am back. Call me Dan, the Google man. I'm here to bring you all of your new Google needs. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. So solution challenge in a nutshell, right? Solution challenge is asking y'all to identify a local problem in your community using one or more Google technology or service, build out a real world application to solve that problem. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, I've never built a project like this before. I've never tackled something in the real world. And that's okay. One of the things that the solution challenge aims to do is help y'all when it comes to these separate events that we're hosting earlier on in the year and connect all of these different events together in a project which will lock in your new theories or new technologies you've learned and give you the opportunity to input them into practical application. The solution challenge is not just a, hey, come register, do it, submit. We're actually going to help y'all through this entire challenge. So, what we'll do is Google developers will have an event series which specifically focuses on a couple different stages of the developer cycle. So, we'll teach you, essentially the 4 steps of creating a project. We'll help you through the idea phase. We'll help you through actually designing it. We'll help you through building the code by connecting you with mentors. Remember way back when to the beginning of this info deck, I talked about the different communities. Well, this is where those communities come into play. The Google Developer Group's experts, women tech makers from across the world will be in a essentially a global chat for y'all to ask questions and get specific guidance on your project. So what you're hearing is, man, I'm going to get an opportunity to connect all these different pieces that I've been taught for free. And Google is going to give me another opportunity to get additional mentoring. Where do I sign up? Well, before you sign up, there's a couple things to notate. So number one, I'm going to drop in the YouTube channel, the events link, so you can go and check out the website. Currently, you are not able to register, but that does not mean we cannot take steps to participate right now. So with the solution challenge, like I mentioned, it's identifying a problem in your local community. So one of the things we can do is actually meet and begin brainstorming ideas to participate in this challenge. What that will in turn do is have an opportunity for you to go, if I want to work on creating a mentorship app, I probably should figure out and how I might be able to utilize it in this project, right? The goal here is when you spend time identifying the project you want to work on, it'll naturally uncover Google technologies that you can utilize, which will then help us, all of us on this call, build out a cadence of events you in this solution challenge. So take the time to begin thinking of a specific project you might want to work on, right? And what I would highly encourage you to do as a group, facilitate a time to have local businesses take part in this with you, right? Invite local businesses to come in virtually and speak about the challenges they're facing in this new digital world. From there, what y'all could do is break up into teams and build out a real world solution to help them. I don't know if y'all made the connections here, but it sounds like a mini internship opportunity, right? If you build out a solution which a local company, nonprofit, other student organization winds up implementing into their business, that's a big plus one, right? So there's a lot of moving pieces to solution challenge. And I know I just data dumped on y'all very quickly over what it is. But it's very important to consider what solution challenge is. Go to our website, look at the specific details of what's required to join, the team size, all of that good stuff, because I really believe this is a way y'all can learn and connect the individual events from this year together.
Great. That was really great. And so like for now you guys can see that there's a lot that goes to Google Developer Student Club. There's like all these different moving parts, and there are a lot of different workshops, and we have the Google Solution Challenge. So we're just going to talk about how we're structuring our club at McMaster. And so the structure of every DSC is different. Different DSCs will find different ways to organize themselves. So this is kind of like our structure, and I just wanted to note that since it's the first year that we're starting kind of from like a blank slate, which means that we have a lot of flexibility in what we do, but that doesn't mean that what we do this year will be permanent and will be the same for every year moving forward. So if we get feedback for this year, we can like modify our structure and um, yeah, for the next years. So in our team, we have five. In our club, we have five different teams, which are admin, marketing and branding, external relations, workshops and talks, and community and code. Um, so I'm just gonna briefly go over all of the teams and what they do. But if you do want to know more information about it, you can go on our website, and I'll show you how you can get to the information about teams. So first, when you go on our website, it's not really pretty because I don't really do front end web dev design, but you're welcome to apply to be a web dev to make this prettier. But what you can do is go on this wiki, which is a Notion wiki, and then you would click. So this wiki has a lot of information about our clubs, like more logistical information and organizational information. So you can feel free to check it out for more information. Um, so the thing I'm talking about is team structure. And over here are all the different teams and the rules for each team. Um, so yeah, I am just gonna go back and explain some of the teams from a high level overview. So the admin team takes care of the logistical part of the club and oversees all the club activities. So things like setting up the online meetings or any communication channels like Discord and Slack, and digital organization tools like Notion. And when we go back in person, they would be the ones taking care of booking rooms in university and organizing the food for events. Also, things like managing the university affiliation with McMaster, so being affiliated with MES and MSU. Also, the admin team will take care of finance and budgeting. So right now, this year, we might not need that much of a budget because we're not doing in-person events that require food and yeah. Um, so yeah, but for future years, this team will be taking care of the finance. And then we have the marketing and branding team. So this team is in charge of the overall look and image of our club, and the goal of it is to maintain a positive and inspirational brand that relates to Google. So part of what this team will do is be in charge of the club website. So again, like I said, right now the club website is kind of just like a blank page. But I did that because I wanted you guys to work on it. Um, yeah. And then also another part of this team would be to create posters for events and activities, and also digital artifacts like social media banners. And this team will be given access to DSC's branding resources. So there's like a whole like Google Drive for all of the resources that we get for branding, and you'll follow guidelines by Google. And the other thing that this team will work on is creating marketing and promotional campaigns to recruit members and promote events. So you'll be managing all of these social media pages. So I've created all of these social medias on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, but like I don't really use Instagram that much, so our Instagram page is just kind of like empty. So this team will kind of take over and be kind of like the face of our club to the public. Cool. And then we have the external relations team. So this team will work on building relationships with external organizations, potentially partnering up with other organizations for events and activities, and also looking for sponsorships and funding. So currently we have a pretty active DSC North America community. We have like a Slack workspace of the North America DSC clubs, and we're pretty active in the community. Yeah, and it's a great way to meet other people. So part of the external relations team would be to be active in the community and also to try to look for other DSC chapters to co-host events, specifically chapters in Ontario like UFT or Ryerson or Waterloo, so we can work together to co-host events. Um, Aside of DSC, this team would also work on looking into working with other McMaster clubs. So, for example, the McMaster Artificial Intelligence clubs to co-host a workshop. With Mac AI, we can co-host a workshop that's artificial intelligence and machine learning related by using Google's machine learning tools. So that would be an example of a good collaborative event that we can do. And aside of the student community in general, we want to look into partnering with local community organizations like nonprofits and see if there's a way that we can work together to solve a community problem using Google Tech. So, like Daniel mentioned about the Google Solution Challenge, we'll want to look into how we can help the local community and partnering up with local organizations just to like brand out, like reach out and yeah. And then we had the workshops and talks. So this is kind of like the educational department of our club. This team will work on organizing technical workshop series. So things like Android development, Flutter, Google Cloud Services. And being part of the DSC, we have a lot of educational resources that we can use. So yeah, so we can use these resources to learn ourselves, and we can also use it to teach others in our community. So yeah, again, things like Google technology, but the content doesn't have to be Google specific. I have seen other DSC chapters do workshops on other technologies like introduction to programming or introduction to Python and using Git and GitHub, and even some technical interview prep workshops. So it's really like we have a lot of flexibility in how many workshops and what workshops we do. So the workshops and talks team will be in charge of doing the technical curriculum for these workshops. And in addition to workshops, this team will organize special talks where we'll try to bring in industry professionals to speak about their experience. So, for example, software engineers working in Google. So, being a Google Developer Student Class, we have a lot of network and a lot of contacts. So we can request speakers to come into our campus if it wasn't for COVID, but for now, it just to speak live online at our events. So that is workshops and talks. And then the last one is community and code. So this team will play a very important role in building our chapter community, and this team will also be in charge of organizing the Google Solution Challenge teams that Daniel was talking about. So one example of something that this team might do is to organize a side projects initiative. So a lot of students in university want to do side projects like coding projects, but they don't really know how to start, or they don't have any ideas, or have people to work with, or they don't have the technical resources to do that. So this team will try to kind of bring together students who have similar interests and group them together maybe, or come up with ideas and basically provide resources and guidance and mentorship to students who are looking into working on side projects. So that's like one example of this what this team might do. And something else, yeah, the other big thing that this team does is to organize the teams for Google Solution Challenge contest. So as Daniel was mentioning, the Google Solution Challenge contest is an annual contest by Google, and teams of up to 4 students can apply, and there are no limits to the number of teams per university as far as I know. So this part of this community and code team will be to organize, to help you guys find others in our group to work together on and compete in in the solution challenge contest and provide like resources and guidance. So yeah, those are the 5 teams. Um, Let me just go back to your slide. Okay, so now we'll just talk about how to get involved. So before I talk about that, the way that this is structured is that when you're a member of this club, you'll be in either you'll be in one of the 5 teams, and there are 2 leads per team. So originally there was going to be one, but we've gotten a lot of interest for this club, so we're probably going to have 2 leads per team. Um, and then everyone else will be like members in these teams. So to get involved in our club, there are 3 ways to get involved. The first thing that you can do is sign up for our mailing list. So if you go on this link that I will drop in our chat here. Yeah, so this link, this is our DSC community.dev page, and if you click join, you can sign up for our mailing list. And what this will do is anytime we host activities or events, you'll get an email reminding you to join that event. Um, And if you feel like that's a lot of emails, you can unsubscribe anytime. But this is a great way to just know what's happening with your club, and you don't need to have any commitment for this part of getting involved. You can just like sign up if all you want to do for the year is just like join a couple of events. That's fine. Um, yeah, and you can kind of pick and choose the events that you want to do. So yeah. The second thing is becoming a member. So to sign up to be a member, you need to submit this Google form, which I will also send in the chat. So in the Google form, you need oh yeah, so to become a member or a core team member, you need to submit the Google form by September 13th. And so for members, wait one second. Yeah, for members, you can I'm going to be accepting anyone who wants to be a member, but the only thing that the application form does is specify what team you want to be in. So if you go on the Google form that we have here, I'll just go through this form. There's some information that you have to fill out, and then you have to specify your top three choice positions. The first choice, these are the positions that you can like apply for. You'll notice that there are member and co-lead positions, so you can choose what sub team that you want to be in. Um, so so to be a member, you can just like submit this form and specify your top three choices. And if you're not sure yet, you can just click not sure, and then you can just join our club, and then later, eventually, you can find a team that you want to be in. Um, and then to be a core team member, so the core team member is like Google's way of saying executive member. Um, so yeah, you will also use the same exact form, and you will just pick the sub team that you want to be a co-lead for, and then you would apply. So yeah, and the deadline is September 13th. Just a note for this application, there are some like long answer questions for member positions. You'll notice that none of these questions are required, so don't feel like this is too big of a form. Like, don't be scared of this form. Just like you can just sign up, and yeah, these questions are just for us to get to know you, and like kind of get to know what technical experience you have and what interests you have, so we can know what kind of background that our students have when we start this club. So yeah. Um, and then just as like a note about the timeline, so after September 13th, so next week I'll be for core team positions, I'll be conducting short interviews. So originally I wasn't gonna do interviews, but then luckily we have a lot of interest in this club, so I want to get to know you guys a bit more before selecting the core team executive members. And these interviews would just be short, like 20 minutes chat with me. It's nothing to be scared of. Like, I just want to like talk to you and get to know you, because right now you guys are just like names on a screen, but I want to actually like, know you as a person. So just watch out for that next week. Yeah. So now we're almost there in the Q&A session, but before we get to that, there are some FA frequently asked questions that I've been having. So what is the time commitment? So this is a commonly asked question, but this is kind of like totally up to you. So if you're a general member, there's more flexibility in how much you commit. So you'll be placed in a specific team in when you're part of this club. So you'll be given a like you'll be assigned a team lead, and so your team lead might give you some assignments and some project work that you need to do. So that totally depends on you and your team lead and how much work you get assigned by your team lead. But no one's gonna force you to do anything. Like, you can like commit as much as you want to this club. And yeah, and if you're a core team member, you'll have like more responsibilities, because for core team members, we are selecting you, and we're selecting you on the basis that you can commit and be motivated throughout the year. So maybe like a couple of hours a week, but that depends on you and the projects that we work on, and also the time of the year. So closer to event dates, we'll be spending more time in organizing the events, for example. um, and then also, is again, this is also up to you. So like part of like our selection process is like looking at people who are self motivated and can take initiative. So so the reason that you want to be a core team member should be that you actually want to like make a difference, and you're self motivated and want to have a lot of ideas for our community. So you should have like initiative yourself. um, so yeah, with that being said, there are regular meetings that we'll have for both general and core team members, and the frequency of that is going to be monthly or bi-weekly. So yeah, so just watch out for those meetings. And if like during the year, if you ever feel like there's a lot going on and you've signed up to be an exec member and later you think that you signed up for too many clubs and it's just a lot, you're welcome to just talk to me about it, and I'm not going to force you to do anything, and I'm not going to like be bad at you or anything. You can just talk to me and we'll work out a solution. We can like organize something, like give you a break for like a while so you can just like relax for a while, and while we assign someone else to take over for a bit. Or if you just change your mind completely, that's cool too. But it's important that you just talk to me about it so we can know as soon as possible and figure out something, um, like a solution for us. Yep. And people also asked how you can be just a general member. So again, on the slide, you can sign up if you just want to join some events here and there. You can just sign up for a mailing list. But if you want to actually have a say in what kind of events we do and kind of like be organizing the events and have be part of the community like more, you can be a member. And the link is the Google form that I sent in the chat. Do I need prior experience? So no, you don't, because like part of the mission of DSC is to teach students and to teach students coding and get people involved in tech and using code to solve everyday problems. So there are no coding skills required. The only required technical skills is for the marketing and branding lead positions. So if you're applying to be a lead for marketing and branding, you'll need either some basic like web dev skills or some graphic design skills, because you'll be creating the website and some digital design artifacts. Other than that, for workshops and talks, it's an asset if you have some specialty skills in some area of tech. For example, if you're like super good at Android, it would be an asset if you could be a workshops and talks lead, but that's not required. The lead positions are as a lead, you'll be organizing things, and you don't necessarily have to teach everything yourself, and you don't have to be an expert yourself. That's not required. We just, as a lead, you're just like organizing things and inspiring people to learn things. Cool. Okay. Now I'll have Daniel talk about the resources we will have that Google will provide to us.
Yeah, excuse me. So one of the things here that I think is important to notate is in this conversation, there's been a ton that's been thrown out to you, right? We've talked about how you'll get access to free credits. Well, we've we've told you how there'll be resources like uh, myself, fellow students, additional communities where we can support events and kind of collaborate. The important thing here to notate is if you're having issues getting access to these resources, let us know. When it comes to our resources, we try to make them as easy to digest as possible, i.e., like quick labs, code labs, right? Registration for solution challenge, all these different things. But everything can be improved. So if you see an opportunity for us to make it easier and more convenient for you, please let us know. One of the things I do want to take a moment and just circle back to here is the DSC event platform, right? The DSC event platform is a fantastic tool for y'all. It's going to help you uncover new events for your chapter at McMaster's as well as other chapters. So please take a moment, go to that website. Don't just sign up for events, sign up to be part of the newsletters. Let us connect you to these amazing resources as we push them out. Because that's the thing. In a organization like this, we're constantly behind the scenes looking for new ways to motivate students and connect you to new technologies and new events. So unless you stay in touch with us, it might not be easy for us to let you know of a cool new event or some new Google credit resources or some sort of new challenge we're putting out regarding COVID-19, right? So it's very important. Go to our website, sign up for your newsletters, as well as share that with your fellow students, right? McMaster's, close by, university or college, it's a-okay. Make sure that they share their information accurately. There's no reason to like misinterpret who you are or where you're from.
Great. And yeah, so the event platform that he was talking about is over here. Is this link over here, dsc.community.dev. So this link will show you all the different chapters that are in the world, and you can look at the events to look for any events that you want. And again, you can also filter by topic. So if you're interested in a particular technology, you can do that, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that was a lot of information, and you might have a lot of questions. So this is your time to ask questions. But just before we get on that, there are some links that I will drop over here. Wait one second. Um, okay, yeah, I didn't think this through, but I'll send you the guys the link on the chat in a bit. But meanwhile, you guys can start asking questions, or if you've already been doing that, that's fine too. Can we team up with other people in the university for a solution challenge? Daniel, do you want to take that?
So great question. In this new virtual world we find ourselves in, this is something that we've been asked quite a bit. We don't have a specific answer for it right now. What we did last year was we required y'all to work in groups from your specific university. So I'm not sure if that will change this year. It's still being discussed. For the time being, I would say identify a team at your particular university. Once we get that confirmation, we'll release it out and make sure y'all know. The other thing to notate here is while a lot of these events are open to students who are not from a university with a developer student club chapter, that is part of one of the requirements to submit to Solution Challenge, right? So another added benefit, you're an existing member of a DSC community, right? So go join McMaster's DSC event page. Make sure that if we were to happen to look into the membership base, you would in fact be one if you wish to participate in the Solution Challenge.
Great. I'm just catching up on the comments, but if any of you, Alex and Daniel, have any questions that you want to answer, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I want to echo something that Danny just said. So it sounds like we need to wait for an official confirmation on if we can pretty much collaborate with other universities, which is 100% understandable. Though something I do want to add is in the chat, Intervere was talking about how it's hard being the only CAS student, which I had to look it up. I'm assuming that's Communication Arts and Sciences. I could be wrong about that.
It's computing and software.
Okay, so
But
there you
yeah.
go. So I was wrong about that. So you don't have to do a project with someone who has the same major as you, and that's actually something important about this club, is that this club is actually open to all majors and all colleges within McMaster. So you don't have to pair with people who are just like you. And actually, there's a lot of value in keeping your solution challenge team diverse because everyone has something different to offer. Specifically at DSC FAU, where I was the lead previously, we found that a lot of teams were more successful when they were working on their projects when they had like two computer science students and then like a business student and then someone who did something different like a more like graphic artsy who could help with some front end stuff. So there you go. So you have two people that are like bouncing ideas off each other for the code. You got someone who is helping you understand the functionality of the app and actually solving the problem from a business standpoint. Because if you notice, if any of you guys looked at the solution challenge page that Danny posted in earlier, like 10% of it is talking about scalability. And as developers, sometimes we know what scalability means from the software side, but not so much from the business side and applying it. And so having those people to understand what that would look like is very valuable. So yeah, so collaborate with other people who are at your university and within your DSC. And Danny already said it, but I'm also going to echo this, is that as a requirement for the Solution Challenge project, you have to be a part of a DSC. So if you do want to participate in the Solution Challenge project, join the DSC. There's really nothing else that I can say about that for sure. And another last thing I'm going to say is I can't remember who said it in the chat because the chat's pretty long and I don't want to look through it right now while I'm talking. But someone was also saying, I'm also going to echo this, is that I don't know if they can they still participate in events if they don't join the DSC. The answer is yes, but I would highly encourage you to join anyways, because another beauty of DSC is that it's not a high commitment to come in. We want this to be a community where you guys can escape to after you're done with class. You can come here, it's relaxed, it's fun, and doesn't feel like just another class. This isn't a commitment where you have to show up these days during the week during these times. Of course, there's a higher level of commitment if you become a core officer, but this is a very low commitment club. This is where you need to come, learn, have fun, meet new people, collaborate, and join events and learn new things. So I'd highly encourage you to join and get started.
Great. So another question that we have is how many co-leads are there for each team? So for our chapter, we have two co-leads for each team, except for the admin. I am not sure about the co-leads for admin because I'm kind of the lead for that because it's like more logistical stuff. But yeah, there'll be two co-leads for each team. And then something else that I will also want to do is during the year, either in the start or in the middle, I want to have an assistant lead per team, probably someone in like first year or second year who can learn from the co-leads and perhaps take over next year. So I definitely encourage everyone who is interested in being a lead in any way to apply to be a co-lead. And if anything, you might get an assistant lead, which will really set you up for taking over next year. Cool. And also just a note, all the links that I have in the end is I can't post all of them in the chat because there's a limit to how many characters we can enter, but I will have this in our YouTube video bio, uh, and I'll send you an email about all these things. So yeah. Will we see the solution challenge again next year, other years? So if you um, go on, there's a website for like where you can see the previous year's solution challenge. So I'm just gonna wait, hold on, sorry, Google solution challenge contest. Yeah, I just realized you can't see my screen. Wait, okay. So, thing is here. I'll send you the link here. First, let me just send you this link. This is a good background in DSC. It has a lot of information. And also, if you click on Solution Challenge, let me send you the link here. Oops. Okay. So this link shows you the 2020 Solution Challenge Day demo video. So there was a demo where the top 10 winners from the last season presented their solution challenge, and you can see what kind of projects they worked on in this video. Yeah, and if anyone has any more to say to that, you can do that. Um, in the
So it
app,
looks like we have
sorry,
a
yeah.
couple. I was just going to say, it looks like we had a couple questions about the application. So in the application form, you select your top 3 positions that you're interested in. Do you need to select the member position as one of those options as well?
So, if you're interested in being a lead, you can just pick the lead positions. But if you're not selected for the lead position, you're automatically considered to be a member for that sub team. So, yeah. So if you want to be a lead for marketing and branding, and like that's the only team that you're interested in, then you can just pick marketing and branding lead for your first choice, and member of marketing and branding is your second choice. But um, even if you don't select member for any of them, you'll still be considered as a member for them. Yeah. Um, would it
It
be?
also looks
Yeah.
like there's a question about resubmitting their application or editing it because they didn't realize co-lead was an option.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Yeah, that can be possible. Just send an email to our email address. I will send the email address here, DSC McMaster U at gmail.com. DSC Mc... Yeah, so if you just send me an email, I can edit your application or remove that and you can resubmit it. So that's totally fine too. As long as you submit it before September 13th, that should be okay. Um, would it be possible for you to be a member if you were to choose 3 different co-lead positions but were unsuccessful? So yeah, like I said, you can select co-lead for all of them, and if you are not selected, you'll be a member automatically. And the application will just help decide which team you're a part of. So most likely, you'll be a part of your first choice team. like preferably I want that, but then if we have a lot of people who are interested in one team and not a lot of people in another team, then we might shift things around based on your second or third choice. But hopefully we can have everyone in their first choice teams. So is there two leads per team or a lead and a lead assistant? So there are two co-leads per team. Yeah, so the two co-leads, because there's like a lot of things that we do and a lot of events and activities that we will be running. So on top of school and any other activities that you might be having throughout the year, I think like it's a lot of responsibilities. So two co-leads is great. And for the sub, like the assistant lead is something that like if you're interested in to be a lead next year, like you want to be a lead but you're not sure that you can right now, you can just apply to be a lead, and then you might be selected for an assistant lead. Yep. If we are a secretary admin, I'm guessing we also go to the talks as a member. Yeah, so no matter which position you have in the club, you'll be able to participate in all of the events that we host. So if you're in any team, you can participate in any activities run by any other team. Um, so yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to note is that if you're in one specific team, you don't have to um, only be involved in that team throughout the entire year. Like, let's say you're in marketing and branding and you have a really good idea for a workshop. You can do that. You can work with the people who are in who are in workshops and kind of like work together and stuff. So, yeah, but you like being part of one specific team, you'll have specific responsibilities that you might be given from your lead. So that is like a priority. But if you have more time, you can also work on other team activities. Can we apply for two positions? So you will be given one position after like once we select everyone, but you can choose your top three preferences on the Google form. But you will be given one position. Um, is it okay to apply for co-lead positions as a freshman? So yeah, that's you can definitely apply. I'm not sure exactly like how that will work. I preferably like co-leads would be upper years, but what we can do is if a lot of people apply and a lot of first years are interested, we can make them assistant leads. And that's why I kind of was thinking about the assistant lead in the first place because I've talked to a lot of first year students who are interested in being leads for their teams. Um, but just because like you're in first year and everything's new, so like maybe it might be too much responsibility, but we can definitely like put you as an assistant lead. But you can still apply to be a lead, and then yeah, so we'll see. um, is there a difference between core team members and admin members? So the core team members are like the executive members, or they're the leads. The members in the admin team will kind of be like assisting the team, and like taking care of like some tasks, but they're not like leading the entire team. So yeah, and then the other thing about the difference between core team members and just general members is that if you're a core team lead, you'll be given access to a community network on Slack that you'll get to network with other core team leads across North America. So yeah, so like right now I'm talking to Alex and Daniel, which so that's great. Yeah. Can you speak a bit more? So for secretary and admin, so that would be like helping do logistical tasks like planning for meetings and events, things like setting things up and assisting with that, and also like meeting agendas and meeting minutes, taking care of our Notion wiki and making sure everything's like organized. But the difference between a secretary admin versus co-leads for other teams would be that co-leads for other teams have like focus on their specific tasks. So like for community and code, you would be organizing the solution challenge specifically. And you wouldn't really need to know or manage other teams. You would just be focusing on your task, which is the community and code. Um, and yeah, and then like for marketing and branding, you would be working on the digital artifacts and web design and web development. So you have more of like a narrow focus on what you do, and it's a bit more like technical like skills, like you have like some goals that you have. But secretary and admin is a bit more logistical. Can we switch to a different team? So yeah, so about this, in the beginning you'll be assigned to one team, um, and then to switch to a different team, you'll have to talk to the leads for the team that you're currently in and the team that you want to switch into. So that depends on if there's availability and if there are tasks that you can have in the new team. So I don't want to dictate how that works. It will be up to the leads of the different teams who decide if you can switch between teams. That's definitely possible, but in the beginning, you'll be assigned to one specific team. Can you drop the link for the application again? Yes, I will do that. Mm, that is the link to the application. Do I need tons of prior experience to become a web developer or the small basics enough? So for this position, originally I was actually thinking of just having like one or two web developers, but then like ever since I released the application form, I was like we got a lot of applications for web dev, which is great. So what I'm thinking is to create a whole sub team for the website because there are a lot of people who are interested in making the website, and I think this is like a great opportunity for you guys to learn web dev skills. So even if you know like the basics of web dev, or if you don't know how to do web dev but you're interested, that's totally fine too. You can apply to be a web dev, and we can put you in a sub team that focuses on web dev. And then we'll assign like a lead for the web dev project, so that that lead will kind of like oversee the web dev and mentor you and guide you, but you can work together and learn from others in the web dev team. It should have. Yep. When will we know what team you're in? So the application deadline is September 13th, and so next week I will be looking through all of the applications, and you should hear by the end of like next week, maybe like the end of next weekend, hopefully. Yeah, because right now it's just like me and the team, so it's just like me doing all the application reviews. So hopefully I'll get that out as soon as possible. Um, okay, Alex and Daniel, it's your turn. Could you please tell us about your side projects which you created in your college time?
Danny, you can go first on that one.
Sure. So, fun fact about me, I actually didn't go to school to study computer science. I actually went to school to study management information systems. And on projects while I was in school, a lot of what I have done and a lot of what I have taught myself to do has been self-paced outside of the classroom. You know, realizing that maybe I went to school for something that I wasn't as passionate for as I used to be. So I can't really speak to projects I built in school, but one project I'm working on right now is pretty near and dear to my heart. So there's ways for you to create like interactive stories with Google actions on Google, right? So I have a 1.5-year-old nephew, and I have like I guess a niece on the way as well, going to be born in a couple months. I've been building out a like interactive story which they can take part in, and kind of have like a decision tree where it will be different each time they respond differently to the story. So think of it almost like a goosebump story, but via actions on Google. That's kind of what I'm working on right now. It's a little lame, but I
That's cool.
find it to be, you know, really really interesting. I've never gone through the whole, okay, how do I build out like something on actions on Google before. So it's like my first time doing it. It's a little bit more intuitive than I thought, honestly. So I challenge y'all as well, like check it out. Like don't think you can't do something, because somebody who doesn't come from a computer science background can figure it out. I promise y'all you can too.
Some projects that I've worked on over the past year. First, I'm just going to put a disclaimer. I don't really consider myself a very skilled developer, but you know, a lot of people and that's kind of getting off topic of my projects, but a lot of you guys are going to be a little bit scared to join DSC because you might not be a good developer or you don't know any coding at all. That's fine. A lot of people are like that, and I was like that for a while, and I'm pretty much a junior right now. So some things that I've worked on is last year while I was interning, I was working on an inventory management system using Firebase and just using Bootstrap. Not really super fancy, but it's running right now, and I tested it for a little little while before the company I was interning at ended up paying for another service that plugged into Salesforce, which was their CRM at the time. But we needed something just to like tie us over because we were using a shared Excel spreadsheet, which was very dangerous if someone would just randomly deleted a sheet. It basically screwed up our entire inventory system, which was very, very bad. And especially with how big the company was, it was kind of embarrassing that we didn't really have a system in place already. So they were just like, okay, it's going to be a couple months before we get something. What can we do? I just kind of volunteered myself, threw my hat in the ring, and said, sure, I'm not really a super developer, but if we need something just a little fancier than Excel, then sure, I could probably come up with something. And using Firebase hosting to host the app, and just regular Firebase using the free plan, and didn't even pay a dime for it. So it was actually kind of nice. And of course, it's not really running right now, but it was kind of cool to uh, experience what Firebase Cloud Firestore has to offer. It's a really powerful tool for free for those of you guys who want to try it out. And then another project that I'm working on right now is not really going to be a solution challenge project, but something I'm working with my DSC. We're working with a nonprofit called 211, and they're a nonprofit that's around the nation. And detail what they do is they provide support to people in the community in a number of different ways. They do financial support, health support, and they're also a contractor for the National Suicide Hotline. So they actually have trained professionals who do these calls called de-escalation calls. So people who are at risk of suicide, they'll call in and talk to someone, and they have a professional who will talk to them and help to calm them down, feel assured, feel that help them feel supported, and then they also do follow-up calls and stuff like that after they talk to them and make sure that they get the help that they need. And stuff like that. So I was really passionate about helping them because I'd never heard of the organization. And their problem was they were really bad at figuring out their optimal staffing during certain hours. And it's important because they have to maintain an SLA. And if you guys don't know what an SLA is, it's a service level agreement. So they have to meet a certain criteria in order to maintain their funding. So they have to answer at least 80% of their calls within 60 seconds. And which is pretty tough, especially when you get a high influx of calls and their call center is very small. So it's really serious for them, a really serious problem. So they brought us in as well as a couple other students from FAU who were people who were going to help us get their data, analyze it, and then bring it to us in a way where we could find a way where we can integrate it into a front end web app where they can go on and they can continue to import their data to, and it's a continually perfecting solution that can help them figure out how many people they need in their call center at a time, because call center then they're paying too much and they're a nonprofit, so they have to minimize their costs, and then if they have too little, they're not meeting the SLA. So it was balancing those two, and that's a project that we're working on right now, so it's ongoing. And yeah, that's just really the two projects that I've worked on. But if any of you guys have any specific questions, I'm happy to take that offline. You can go ahead and email me. I'm gonna go ahead and drop my email in here if you want. And that's pretty much all for me.
Great. So I was just looking up on the chat to answer some of the other questions. So one question we have is, does DSC also work with groups such as the Mac Energy Association? So this year we will be trying to collaborate with other student groups at McMaster. Like that's definitely something that we want to look into. For example, we have the McMaster Artificial Intelligence Club. I've been talking with Jay from Mac AI to think of a potential collaboration with them to co-host workshops. But there are like we're pretty flexible and we're open to working with other groups as well. So if you're in another group at McMaster and you want to collaborate, feel free to email us or message me. Um, Great. And then I just had another question about will we have employer events from Google? So I already answered in the chat, but just to reiterate, ECCS or Engineering Co-op and Career Services already hosts events that are by Google. So if you might have heard of the weekly Employer Week, I think Employer of the Week, yeah. So ECCS runs Employer of the Week, where they pick a company and then throughout the week they do a lot of events for that company. So if you go on Oscar Plus You can see all the events that we have, and there is like a week dedicated for Google every year. So you can watch out for that. Yeah. And yeah, we might be like something I was looking into was collaborating with ECCS, like our club and ECCS to co-host a Google Employer and Co-op event. Yeah. So I just wanted to, I guess, ask a question to Daniel. So since you work at Google, do you want to talk a little bit about like the environment at Google and like the people that you meet and how fun it is to work at Google, I guess, because I know a lot of students would be interested in hearing about that.
Yeah. So I can talk a little bit about the culture here. I'll try to keep it brief, just
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
I think we all kind of know a little bit, right? We've probably all read a little bit about the Googliness, a little bit about the scooters and the bikes and the food. So I'll try not to. So one of the things that I think is really rewarding and amazing about working at Google is the fact that you get the opportunity to meet others from different organizations, right? Because that's one of the things here to notate is Google is a massive corporation. There are hundreds of different teams just in my area of Austin that I work in. I'm in an office and I get the opportunity to network with these different people, make connections to projects I'm working on, um, resources just by having a conversation at like the water cooler. It's great, right? One of the things I've never seen with other companies, and I've worked for Cisco, I've worked for Esurance, I've worked for Starbucks, I've worked for some pretty big companies now. Google is very unique, right? It is like one team is aligned behind you, right? If they can help, they will help. And that's what we are looking to do in this community, right? We're trying to take these values that we have as these and take them and really try to impress them to y'all in an earlier age, because it really does make working with different people, different backgrounds, different initiatives, it makes it so great, right? When you can turn to someone and have a brainstorming session out of left field and you just met the person, it's very rewarding and mind blowing. Um, Obviously, the food's really good. Obviously, there's tons of really cool different campuses. Um, it's more the people, Google what it is, right? If we had a bad culture, it wouldn't matter how amazing the food was or how cool the Android statues were, right? That's not why people come to work. That's not what drives them to keep moving forward. So try to take that and bring it to you wherever you are, right? Be the best version of yourself that you can be, and you will be surprised by the environment you create around you.
Great. I think that was really well said. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so since it's a food free, I guess you want to answer that this last question.
That is a great last question. Oh my gosh, I love that question. The answer, uh, um, in your badge, but that's it. You just scan your badge and you keep walking. Depending on where you go, there's different types of food. So, like in Austin, we have like a barbecue place. One of the But meanwhile, if you go to some of the areas or offices in California, they have like sushi, lineups. They have like burger places. I mean, it's pretty unique. It's like walking into a buffet, sort of, if that helps. I don't know. Sorry.
Right. Okay. Thank
The
you.
food is pretty good. I can vouch for that. The food is pretty good.
And whenever we're out of this virtual world, who knows? If we happen to be in Austin, reach out to me. Maybe there'll be an opportunity for me to show you an inside peek into the Google office, right? Um, you never know. So with that, I'll leave you with this. If you ever meet someone in a info session or an event, find them on LinkedIn, send them a message, say, super moved by some of the information you say. Try to like find something to highlight in there, right? Make me remember you. So that way, when you turn to me and ask for something, it's right there in my head. Best practice for y'all there. But seriously, I would love to connect with all of y'all on LinkedIn. I say this, but I may regret it when I have 500 requests come through. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to drop it in the YouTube chat. I will only accept it if you send me a LinkedIn message. How's that? I think that's fair.
That's very fair, and I'm going to touch on that. You don't have to put a long message when you request any of us on LinkedIn. I started doing, geez, voice crack there. What I started doing is any LinkedIn request I send to anyone on Slack from the DSC or from another DSC Discord is I'll ask them, and I literally just put "Go DSC!" because that tells them I'm from DSC, right? It doesn't have to be much fancier than that. You don't have to write an essay just to introduce yourself. Just be like, "Go DSC!" Boom, send request, and now Danny knows that you're from DSC. Not that hard. Another thing, I know we're probably getting close to the end. I made a promise to DSC UT Dallas that I would plug their event that's coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in. The description is it's the last event of their Explore ML series, which is going to be this Saturday. And some of the things that they'll be going over is the natural language understanding, or NLU, name entity recognition, NER, the Bill STM CRF model, and essential techniques in NER. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the RSVP link. So like we were saying earlier, throughout your membership of DSC, we'll be attending each other's DSC events. So, I might have an event here in a couple of weeks, and I'll go ahead and extend the opportunity for any of you guys to join in this virtual environment. That's kind of like one of the positives that we can pull out of this. Of course, we can't really get together and interact with each other the same. Thing that's positive is we can attend each other's events, and that's actually a really cool thing. So I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to that right here. If you go to that link, it's a Google form, and it should have all the information that you need to sign up. I'm looking at it right now. There's a link to join their Discord, and just for during the event. You don't have to stay in the Discord, but you can at least join the Discord to ask questions during the event. But if you don't want to join the Discord, no hard feelings. All you can do is fill out the form, and then you'll be on the email list for info, and then I'll be there. So I hope some of you guys might be interested to be there as well.
Great. And speaking of Discord, I just wanted to say that for our club, I am thinking about either using Discord or Slack or Microsoft Teams, just because we use Microsoft Teams for all our classes in school now. But I'm not going to make the decision. It's up to you guys what we want to use for communication. And to vote, you will get a post-event survey after this event. Watch out for the email. It'll ask you some questions about how you thought about this event, and then there's a question about which platform that you want to choose from the choices Slack, Discord, or Teams. So you can choose that. And I think people are leaning towards Discord, but it's up to you. Yeah. That being said, if you guys have any more further questions, feel free to reach out to us on our website. So DSC McMaster U.ca. All of these links I will be dropping on the YouTube description, and I'll also be including that in your post event email that you'll get in a few hours. So you can use any of these links to contact us. Feel free to contact any of Alex or Daniel or me on LinkedIn, but you'll probably see me around on campus eventually sometime. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, thank you, Alex and Daniel, for coming. I really appreciate it. And yeah, and
It
last word.
is my pleasure, Alex. I'm sure it's your pleasure as well. This is what we're here for, right? One team, one dream. Feel free to take that as your mantra. Use it however you want, but ultimately that's what DSC is. So thank you for having me, and I look forward to joining as many events as y'all allow me to.
I'll go ahead and do my outro as well. But before I leave, I saw one question that says, for the workshop, do you need prior knowledge? The answer is no. The recordings to the previous events in the Explore ML series will be sent out as long as you fill out the form. So don't feel like you're behind. Just go ahead and fill out that form. You'll get the emails, and then you can watch those. You'll be on the same track, and then you can go ahead and participate. My outro is Danny says, He's got his teamwork quote. My teamwork quote is teamwork makes the dream work. So I'm pretty much going to stick by that. But yeah, it was a pleasure to have me here. If you guys have any questions, you can just go ahead and or you can go ahead and send me a message on LinkedIn as well. I'm already seeing my email get a bunch of notifications of people adding me on LinkedIn, which is awesome. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And
Okay, great. Thank you. Um, I will turn the live stream off.